Hello there, everybody. Welcome to I guess this is kind of a quasi-producer show sort of thing. So yesterday with the news that Orenthal, is it Orenthal?
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 I think it's Orenthal, yeah.
Orenthal, James Simpson passing away.
The Juice.
Juice, O.J. Simpson passed away. A couple of people on Twitter brought up the there was the old Kirk interview where he brought on Kirk's lawyer. I'm sorry, no, Kirk's lawyer, OJ's lawyer, Malcolm LaVergne, and had him on. He just
Mike
talked.
Portnoy?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Mike Portnoy representing OJ Simpson.
Yeah.
That'd be something. That'd be like great in like a movie or something like that. But no, he had on Malcolm LaVergne, OJ's lawyer, back on in 2019 during the short little Cullinane era, the period where Steve was away on vacation. People were saying that this is one of the best interviews Kirk has done. It's just classic KMS. So I figured we'd give it a re-listen today and just kind of give our thoughts over it. Kind of mostly just listen along, not try to interrupt it too much. So just to kind of put you guys in the perspective here, like I said, it is July 19th, 2019. Steve is currently on his honeymoon for the month. Dave Cullinane is filling in. Blind Mike is in the midst of trying to get hired by Barstool. He's been going back and forth, so he's kind of like, will they, won't they? They're negotiating. They're trying to do it on air, off air. It's this whole thing. And then around this time, OJ popped up. Hey, Twitter world, it's OJ. You know, he kind of popped back up, and it kind of made some news. People were like, how the fuck is this guy on Twitter? You know, he's a murderer. I believe Howard Stern actually went out and like, this guy should be deplatformed. Twitter should not be giving him a platform. This is wrong. Obviously, it's crazy to think that, you know, Twitter should dictate who can and can't have a platform, especially in that.
Well, they would, and they did.
Yeah. So his lawyer was making the rounds, going on a bunch of different podcasts talking about that. He went on Kim Goldman's podcast talking about how she's, you know, this pretty much a fame whore. We'll get into it, but it's just a crazy interview. Just the mind of a madman who truly just believes he's better than everyone else. When you hear him talk, he constantly calls Kirk an amateur. Everyone here is an amateur. No one's professional.
Brags about his designer clothes.
Yes, he brags about how he's like, yeah, like this is fine. You guys can post whatever because I'm gonna go shopping at like Louis, which is like such like it is kind of a fucking baller. Fucking like be like, yeah, I'm gonna go drop some bands on Louis. It's like because especially someone like Kirk is like, okay, like Kirk has like no response to it. So it's kind of like a baller move. But I think it'll be funny to listen back to it and just kind of, you know, do a KMS rewind. Quantum Kirk, we used to have a show on the channel, on the other channel called Quantum Kirk until they left. So this is kind of like a long form version of that. So here we go. July 19th, 2019. This episode is called Kirk Minahan Challenges O.J. Simpson's. Oh, come on, keep scrolling. You know when the title won't scroll? You're just like... I believe it's Kirk Minahan challenges O.J. Simpson's attorney.
With some stuff we agree with. Before we dig into the stuff we disagree with, I'm with you on this.
Long title.
I grew up as a huge Howard Stern fan. For Howard Stern to this
Minahan challenges
champion
O.J.
of free
Simpson's
speech for decades to be telling somebody they should be deplatformed off Twitter, to me is
aggressive,
insane, totally insane.
Response.
Well, let's talk about it rationally first. I don't think most people know this.
Kim Goldman.
It hasn't been made clear. Mr. Simpson posted a tweet yesterday after the Howard Stern show, and he said something. It's a little cryptic if you don't get it, but let me give you more detail about it. He talked about person.
Good.
He talked
this
about
is in the Red 13
A,
studio,
which was Howard Stern. Obviously, told person is basically saying person B should be banned from which is Simpson, of course, should be banned from a public platform.
Okay.
And then Mr. Simpson went on to say, years ago, person B was the one supporting person A's right to have that public platform. So let me give you some more detail about this.
Okay.
O.J. Simpson was on the board of directors of a company called Infinity Broadcasting, Infinity something, I don't know, some kind of Infinity. And that is the owner of a bunch of radio shows back in the 80s and 90s, radio broadcast,
correct.
Of which Stern was their biggest client.
Correct.
And stuff.
Infinity Broadcasting was Stern's. Yes. Yep. That's right.
Yeah, and I did some research on it. If you listen to Stern from some of his prior recordings, he kind of sounds like, well, OJ was just kind of like the token on it and the celebrity or token on it, and that was it. But that's not true. OJ was heavily involved in that, and OJ was he went through with me in detail. That's OJ's story. If he wants to ever share it, he can do it, but I'll give you a summary.
Mm-hmm.
In detail, OJ was an active participant when Howard Stern was going through all those battles with the FCC and all these wacko groups that would try and get him off the air or earn money off of Howard Stern.
OJ ever decides to tell the story about how he fought for Howard Stern.
And he went in great detail with me over all the nonsense that was going on. And even though Howard Stern at the time, he always told jokes and stuff. I wasn't a Howard Stern listener back then.
Well, I would say, Malcolm, excuse me for just 1 second. I will say Stern, who I listen to all the time, during the, of course, one of his callers called in during the Bronco chase, but he was also very, very convinced that OJ murdered Ron and Nicole. Like very,
I don't even want to get into that.
But I'm just saying, okay.
We can talk about that later.
That's fine. Continue. Go ahead.
Talk about the free speech issue.
Sure. Yes. Yeah, that's fair. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So OJ was on this board, and he was actively involved. I mean, he went through with me in great detail all the nonsense that was going through with Howard Stern.
Simpson, Hall of Fame
even though
running
Howard
back,
Stern was at the time,
accused murderer,
he made racial jokes.
One hell of a free speech
whatever.
guy.
I wasn't a listener at the time, but I mean, OJ was certainly someone who knew what was going on, and he actively supported the fight to keep Howard Stern on the air, to fight these FCC fines. He went through glaring detail with me, so that's why
went through
OJ
harrowing
finds
detail.
it very
OJ's like, I will not appear in Top Gun or Naked Gun 2 if Howard Stern is taken off the air.
That Howard Stern would go on his platform, his very huge platform he has, and call for the ban of a private citizen.
Howard Stern is a giant pussy now, too.
OJ made in America, and call for his ban on a platform when OJ's done nothing wrong.
Right, Malcolm.
So that is a little bit that's the humor of the situation.
Yes, I agree. And that isolated part of that, I agree with you 100% that's nuts. I'd be curious, before we get into the other stuff, how much contact do you have with Simpson day in, day out? Like, what is the relationship like? Because you seem, I will say this, before we get to the other stuff, you are very protective of your clients. So I'm curious, is it a friendship? Is it a frequent correspondence? Infrequent? How does it work?
Oh, no, it's nearly daily. Daily.
He sounds like he's bragging
times
here.
A day.
Yeah,
obviously,
definitely.
With the last since June, when all this.
I feel like if you
Coleman
asked
publicity tour and
a
all
lawyer,
this stuff
like how
up again,
often,
it's been multiple times a day, every
I can't
day.
tell you. I can't talk to you.
Let's go before that. Let's say this year and a half gap where not too much was going on. Then it would be more like, every few days we could call. He has to come into the office sometimes to deal with, some various legal things, some internal orders, whatever it is. He's got to come in the office to do paperwork. But it is, at this point, I would say it is still like 60, 70% attorney-client relationship, and 30% I do consider him a friend.
Lover.
Be mindful, though. I'm a lawyer that very
20%
well
friend,
understands
10%
that you
lover.
have to keep a certain professional relationship with
3%
a client.
murder. I mean,
and this situation is unique, obviously. People think that I'm very protective of Simpson. Well, the situation is very unique. This is a guy who has these judgments and stuff, but the attacks on him come more from social media, the regular media, and these publicity tours. So as a lawyer, I had to encrypt my mind and figure out, how do I deal with this situation? It's very bizarre, unique, whatever it is. And it's been, and I figured out a way that I think has been highly effective. And if you see how some of his
he is great at like talking in a way
now
and
deal with
making
him.
he's like a dumb person who knows how to talk to make other dumb people think he's smart.
Before, which is not a very big platform, but a lot of media people follow me, so media would pick up on a lot of things I would say.
Again, kind of bragging.
And now that Simpson has his platform of 870 something thousand people, Mr. Simpson can deal directly with any issues he has if he wants to, but as you can see from his Twitter page, it's been basically super positive, and he just offers his commentaries. He's done exactly what he said he's going to do on it. Fantasy football, which bores me to death, so that's all, it's fine.
Well, what I find, so you
took
said
Andrew
you
Luck
found your way to
retired
deal
like
with
20
it.
minutes
and
later.
I got to say, as some from an outsider's point of view, and I'm curious to hear yours. I listened to you on Kim Goldman's podcast. I listened to you when you called into the show in Las Vegas. You have taken, by any definition, an aggressive turn. You've called Kim Goldman a piece of shit. You've said she's disgusting. You've hurled lots of insults at her, and I don't really. And honestly, I'm open. I don't think it's gonna work, but I'm open to any reason from your end why you're doing that to somebody, whether you like them or not, who did. Whether you think OJ did it or not, I think he did. Maybe you don't. You didn't defend him in that. But her brother did get his head chopped off. He was murdered. So I wonder why you continue this sort of aggressive tone toward her?
Well, no, number one, he was killed. The murder was never established.
Well, whatever.
That's awesome.
First
well,
of all,
it's a big.
He was found liable,
okay?
civilly liable for the murder, correct?
But let's go back to your. Let's go.
At least
let's
they
go
can
back
agree
to your original
that
point
he
about
was killed.
Okay,
Yeah.
did you? Well, first of all,
It wasn't
did you,
murder.
let's go one by one. To be fair to you, you called her a piece of shit in the Daily Mail, correct?
I said POS, but yeah, that was on Twitter. Yeah.
Okay.
that
Why?
was on
Why?
Twitter.
I mean, why would you do that?
Because she's a professional victim. I mean, that's it. She's a public figure. This is it. She's a public figure. She intentionally puts herself out there as a public figure. She goes on publicity tours, and all of it's on my client's name, and it creates problems, or it potentially creates problems. I won't say it creates actual problems. Sometimes it does, but it creates potential problems.
So you said it. So it's not actually. Which problems has it led to?
You can see Kirk's like still trying to be like
if she goes on TV
doing an actual
and people
interview,
work
trying to reel him
Well, if
in.
she goes on the TV and tells her
minding his own business
and tells her
Are
story.
you gonna let me finish or not?
Yeah, go ahead.
You gotta let me finish or not?
Go ahead.
You asked
You're
me
right.
why
No,
I
you're
called
right.
her
You're right. No, you're right.
that
You're right.
term, and
Go
I'm
ahead.
gonna tell you.
That's right. That's fair. Go ahead.
All right. So, and that's it. And she's only doing it for money, for pure greed, pure profit, pure fame of her own. She has some kind of, she doesn't want to admit this, but she has some sick craving for fame, her own individual personal fame.
Based on what?
It's got nothing to do with her loss or anything like that. It's her own personal
What are you, Malcolm? What are you basing that on, though?
It's based on her conduct over the last, certainly the last 15 years, but we can look over the whole last 25 years. Her public, she has a public relations guy. Her conduct with, most people don't know this. Simpson doesn't owe Kim Goldman a dime. He owes her nothing. But she goes
It is
around
funny
and
to
parades
say,
around
like,
like he owes her
because
money.
she has a
He
public-
owes her nothing.
yeah,
He owes-
I was
he
just
owes-
while
he owes the
he's
Goldman
currently
family
the
nothing?
public relations guy for
He owes
OJ.
her nothing.
He owes,
She's an innocent. He owes her nothing.
he owes her dad $80 million.
The dad, the mom they never want to deal with in the estate.
Right,
So
but I don't-
and that's a legal
Okay.
obligation, and he complies with all the turnover orders.
Malcolm, let me ask you.
But I'm
go
justified
ahead.
in anything I say about her. So you're not going to shake me off.
You can say whatever
Okay.
you want, but I mean, you're calling her a piece of shit because she has a public relations person?
Well,
Because she wants to be famous, which I'm not even sure is true. I mean, she runs a nonprofit. She has a podcast. Do you think she's had a lot of fame and fortune? Do you think she'd like to trade that to have her brother alive, or no? Like, do you think that she's happy this happened because
that issue is not necessarily of importance at this moment in time. The issue is, what is she doing now? How is she doing it? And how does it affect my client? And does she have any real motivation behind it other than for her own fame and profit? And the answer is no, she doesn't.
Well, do you think she's making?
You heard yesterday where Howard dinged Oprah. Howard's always had some type of major beef with Oprah because she's obviously more famous, more successful. Wow. And he took another knock at her yesterday. And what did Oprah tell Kim Goldman over 10 years ago? All right, she told Kim Goldman the same thing I told her. All right. So
we told her what? I'm sorry.
I'm the only one who shares this opinion.
Well, I don't remember what Oprah told her, Malcolm. I'm sorry. What was that?
Oprah told her. I told both of them when they came. I told Kim Goldman and Fred Goldman when they came on the show the ability or the need to move on from a situation.
Well, yeah,
that's it, and they've told her that. So,
well, this seems to be a big theme.
Yeah, so,
this seems to be a big theme with the times I've heard you.
Regardless of what they're doing,
get over it.
Yeah.
But I mean, you must understand why she's not doing that. I mean, she does want justice for her brother who was murdered, and nobody's ever been found guilty for it. I mean, you have to understand that, no?
Well, listen, I'm not sure if I subscribe to what Oprah is saying in a genuine way. I'm not particularly concerned if Kim Goldman she moves on in her own particular way or gets over it in her own particular way. My concern is, how does her conduct right now and what she's done over the last couple of years since Simpson got out of camp, or as most people know it, at prison, but how did he get out of camp? How does
Otherwise
that
known
affect
as prison.
client, and what can I do to alleviate
If you
the
actually hear
situation?
him
how does it
talk on Nelk,
how have you been effective by
It was
calling her a
camp.
piece of shit?
he was like,
and
"Oh, it
calling
was
her
great. We were
how is she
playing
disgusting?
It's her tactic.
Get the chance to
Which
look up
way? What
O.J.
tactic?
Simpson
I don't
talking
understand.
to
She
Nelk,
goes on
the Nelk
shows.
boys.
She thinks your client killed her brother, so she goes on and talks about it. How? And by the way, most people think that happened. How is that disgusting?
Because she goes on and promotes stuff.
Promotes what? A podcast? What else?
You're asking questions. I'm telling you, she goes on and promotes podcasts, promotes her books. She goes on and seeks fame and seeks the profit. She's a professional victim.
So when OJ tries to do a reality show and try to do that thing, what's the difference?
And when you go out as a public figure, I don't know if you know what the law is, but when she makes herself
got
a
his
public
ass.
figure, then she can be commented on in a way that private citizens can't be.
Oh, of course, you have a right to do that. I'm not disputing your right. I just don't know where she's disgusting and a piece of shit. To me, she seems like somebody who, you're right, she has a podcast, she's written books, people are curious about it. Why? Does that mean that everybody who promotes something is a piece of, in your definition, is disgusting and a piece of shit because they're promoting something?
Well, I mean, I guess we're just going to be in a circle here where we're going to be argumentative, and you want me to, I guess, say
I'm just
that she
asking.
isn't, but no, I said what I said about her, and then that's it. She's a professional victim,
No room.
and that's
No
it.
room for anything else.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. Mike, I have Mike with me as well. He's a co-host. I think he wants to ask you a question, Malcolm. Sorry,
Go
Malcolm.
ahead.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, you said that she's just seeking fame and she's greedy and all this. You, in your
That's
Twitter
right.
bio, say that you're the Juice's lawyer, and before you came on, were begging us for Twitter followers. So isn't that kind of what you're doing too? It's like the same thing.
No, I wasn't begging you for Twitter followers.
Well, you
Here's
want
what I
Twitter
said
followers.
Before we went on the air, what I said is you should put my Twitter handle on, and
Yeah, right. Why is
put
that?
it on if Bar still has 1.6 million. Make sure that that's.
But
there.
why do you
Make
want
sure
us?
Well, why do you want
Why you want us?
That's
Why
what I
would?
said.
Why do you want us to do that, though, Malcolm?
Because if I'm going to come on and give you content, why?
Because
why
you want
guys
notoriety.
do it?
Kim Goldman's
I'm gonna get
providing
content.
content.
Yeah, you
it's
want-
something that affected her life.
She's
So
a
what do you
bore.
care if she talks
Now,
about
listen, Howard
She's a
Stern made her-
bore.
She's a what? I'm
She's
sorry.
not
She's a
Malcolm
bore. Yeah,
LaVergne.
she's
No, I've
boring.
never seen her on. She's a major bore.
Okay.
So what? People listen to her podcast. Who cares if she's bored?
Well,
It'd be
I have a
great
right
if he
to
goes
comment
into
on
like a
it.
But I
Kirk
guess
rant
my-
right now.
But it's a little
He was like,
hypocritical
she's an
when you call
absolute
yourself
content
the Juice's
zero.
lawyer to promote yourself. You're making money off of a guy that may have allegedly murdered people, and you're promoting that, and you're asking us to promote your Twitter. Isn't that greedy
Yeah,
in the
so,
same sense?
Okay.
So what's
And
the
you
difference?
Can,
What's the difference between you and Kim
make your own
Goldman?
comments about me. Yeah, you can have commentary about me, and I'll sit there and I don't know if you make.
But you don't even have an
comments
argument.
about
So
me,
you don't even have an
maybe I'll
argument
go
for
and
that.
I mean-
You're criticizing Kim
something
Goldman
to
for
lick
it.
my wounds.
I guess my question, like, do
I'm sorry.
you think Kim Goldman's a bad person?
I don't think she is an altruistic person. I don't think that
Well, she works
is
for
a genuine
nonprofits,
person.
though, right? I mean, I don't. Doesn't she work
Well,
for
that's what she says. That's a cover, but you keep saying nonprofit.
Cover for what?
People who
actually
go
an
nonprofit.
Illuminati.
That's the biggest scam going out there.
You represent
He doesn't
OJ.
even
How
have
fucking moral are you?
the people, huh?
You
Go
represent OJ.
ahead,
He doesn't have
Malcolm.
the right to legal
Go ahead.
representation.
Go off, Mike.
I mean, come on, guys. You guys are kind of looking bad right now if you
Oof.
don't understand that some people have
Amateur
a right to
hour.
representation.
I agree. I don't disagree
yeah.
with that. I don't disagree
All
with
right.
that. I don't disagree with
All
that.
right, so I represent a person who is a well-known public figure. He
Sorry,
certainly,
no,
at one point in time, was the most notorious person on the planet, and I've got to deal with strategy. I have to come up with strategies to deal with some of this stuff that comes up against that.
But I
against
guess
him that presents.
I guess
problems.
my question is, Malcolm. So you have to do that, and you have your angle. But let's just say that.
No,
Let's
I
just.
want to talk about this profit because you guys keep talking about this nonsense.
I don't care. Okay. Well, just give me
Yeah,
1
well,
second.
You must have cared because you keep bringing it up.
We'll get
Let
back.
me talk
I
about
mentioned.
it for a
Okay,
second.
we'll get to. But I just. We'll get to. Hold on,
Because
because
she's talking about. She doesn't even have a master's degree. Anyone who does that type of work
gives
has
a
to have
fuck? Okay.
specialized degrees.
Okay.
They stuck her name on it. I'm sure she gets some kind of check for it. Why don't you, if you're so concerned about that nonprofit that she works with, where she tries to make herself look like some kind of saint or some kind of good person, ask them for their tax returns and their financials and see what she gets paid and what she does to that.
It's just
She
odd
makes
to me.
most of her living off of Simpson.
It's odd to me that you hate her so much. Your voice drips with hatred for this woman. I don't.
I
like,
don't hate her at all. Let's go.
Well,
Let's
you called
go and
her-
talk
you
about
called
what I
her-
even
you
commented
called her a
on.
piece of
Let's go-
shit.
Let's go and listen. Let me give you a correlation here. Okay?
Sure, go
Let
ahead.
me give you a correlation. These are facts. These
Yeah,
are actual
I'm
facts.
listening.
This
Go ahead.
isn't something about you guys wanting to have a debate. Let me give you facts.
Sure, go ahead.
I started commenting on the Goldmans in 2017, right around the time they went and did their publicity tour. I'm sitting there with my career at stake, Mr. Simpson's liberty at stake, trying to get him out of camp. And they're on TV doing their
Bring 'em out of
publicity
camp.
tour. So you know what? We get off and we start doing this thing with the Twitter and going on Twitter and TV. I went on TV too. They were on TV, so we were there. That went on in about 2017 and 2018. Well, the early 2018, maybe it didn't stop. And guess what? Nothing happened again. You won't see one tweet about me. At least I don't think you will, but I'm pretty sure. From the beginning of 2017 all the way through
Pretty sure as if
June
he
of
doesn't know.
2018,
Yeah.
you heard nothing about me and Kim Goldman, the Goldmans,
That's
anything
why I need
about
you to
it. I
promote
went
my
about
account.
living my
Yeah.
charm life.
Gotta
Mr.
get those
Simpson
numbies
built
up.
his life here. He has a great life. Guess when all this started again? It started when these Goldman people came on TV again in
Goldman
last
people.
month and started with their publicity tour again. And
Doesn't
now it
sound
started
great.
up again.
Yeah.
And you know what? When they go away again, I'm going to go away again.
like an offshoot of, like,
not,
you
it's not
people.
like it's going to stop. It's not like I'm going to stop protecting my client or working to protect his best interest. That's something you're never going to shake me off on.
I understand.
Ever,
I
ever,
totally,
ever,
totally
ever in a
understand.
million years.
Understand 100%
And so
that.
they go away. Y'all
Right.
go away. You'll
Jesus,
see
this
the
guy's-
Goldman stop
I mean, he
talking,
just
and
doesn't
guess what?
shut up.
Malcolm's going to stop talking, and I'm going to keep going and doing the things I want in my practice. You understand? This is a distraction for me. This is not even. This is something that I hope in soon, and so I can go on doing the things that I want to do with my
Right.
professional life.
Sounds like he hates
Simpson
doing
can go
this.
on doing what he wants in his life. But it's the Goldmans that are driving this and starting this, and then everyone wants to come to me and act like I'm some kind of bad guy for representing Simpson. I'm doing the best.
Well, I would say it's unusual tactic for a lawyer to call the person who his client may or may not have murdered her brother a piece of shit. But that's fine. Neither here nor.
It's strong. It's strong language. I'll give it to you. It's strong language, but don't regret saying it. She got exactly the commentary that she deserved with her new little round of.
He doesn't hate her.
Deserve for
Doesn't
what
hate
though?
her.
But Malcolm, but for what? For promoting a podcast?
She's trying to profit off of misery. That's why that podcast is something that she's trying to make money off of.
So that makes her. I don't know why that makes her a piece of shit though. That's what I don't get.
That podcast work.
But why does that make her a piece of
Get
shit?
her on your show. Get her on your show and ask her how all the financing of that podcast works and why she's in there.
I'm sure she's making money off it. It's great.
Between everything.
Right, she's making money off it. So what? How does that affect OJ?
Yeah,
How does that affect your client's life?
She's doing it off my client's name and his expense, and that makes her a public figure.
But
and I
okay,
can comment
I
on it.
understand legally you could comment on it, but how does that affect OJ's day in and day out life? What? It doesn't matter.
Well, if you go around and try and get people worked up over my client, it could present a problem.
In what way? In what way?
I don't wait until a
In what
problem
way?
actually starts.
I know,
It
but-
actually exists.
Okay.
I nip it in the bud.
Walk
right
me
away.
through. Walk me through how
I've
this
learned
could.
that with these Goldman people.
Walk me through how this
Once
could
again,
happen, OJ.
not a
What's
great-
going to happen?
Doesn't sound
if she
great.
does this podcast. How's
If
OJ?
they go out and these are podcasts. They're not things. These are meant to be disseminated to everybody.
Correct.
Okay, just like this conversation is. So
Yep.
if everybody gets it, they go and get people worked up. It can create problems. All right.
Which?
So they go get
but
wiki-
what
they-
problems?
Well, listen. Listen. Let your audience figure it out.
No,
They
give me an
go out
example.
and
There was a
manage your
documentary
people.
series and a scripted series about the case. People know about it.
I mean, your fucking client wrote a book called "If I Did It."
I think that's where Kirk got the
Yeah,
name
and
for
it
the
was
case.
bad judgment his part. Bad judgment. When
he wrote that book, he then went with Judith Regan on an interview and promoted it. Does that make your client a piece of shit?
This is where Kirk just starts.
It was bad judgment.
Does that make your
Round one
client
and
a piece
two
of
are
shit?
always
We
going
went
for
out
the
last
knockout
year.
here.
You guys should have maybe done your homework before you.
I know you criticized him for it, but I'm
Again,
asking you.
amateurs.
I know you criticized him. I know you did. Go ahead. I know you did.
Okay, all right. So what? So why? So you think I'm just? You think I can? Not only can I be an advocate, I can be his critic. Too.
So I'm
it's
asking.
not
So
like
you
I
think
can't
Kim
be
Goldman's?
objective.
You told
Go
me.
get Kim Goldman to try and be objective.
You told me Kim Goldman. Why would Kim Goldman be objective? She thinks OJ cut her fucking brother's head off. Why would she be objective?
Well, you don't even know the facts of the case. See, you guys are hacks. You guys are amateurs.
I don't know the facts of the case is I don't. You're correct. I don't know every fact of the case, but I do know that Kim Goldman thinks.
You told me before the show you're professionals and you know what you're doing, and you're kind of sounding like big hacks.
Okay, well, I just said I think Kim Goldman
Why don't
believes
you
that
guys
OJ.
refocus and come up with some decent.
I believe that Kim Goldman thinks that OJ killed her brother. Do you disagree with that assertion? I'm not talking about the facts of the
I'm
case.
sorry. Well, say the question. Say the question again.
Sure, I'll ask the question again. What I said was I think Kim Coleman believes OJ killed her brother, and then you talked about how I don't know the facts of the case. I didn't lay out a single fact of the case. I just said Kim Goldman.
You said some very graphic things that absolutely don't.
A piece of shit. I think Kim Goldman believes that.
You want to go and keep talking about the LA thing? Go fine. I'll try and answer some of your
I
questions.
don't care about the LA case. What I'm saying is, why do you think?
Sound like an amateur.
You said that Kim Goldman's biased. Like, no shit. Don't you think she'd be biased?
I'm not. I didn't say she was biased. What I said
just
is
said
she
that.
should be objective.
Do you expect her to be objective?
Her whole focus is on fame and publicity and profit off of misery. And it's
definitely not
exactly
biased
the
either.
reason why Oprah told her to move on.
Okay.
And guess what?
Oprah tells
is
you to move
much
on, you
more
move the
famous
fuck
and much more
on.
Yeah.
successful and much more popular than Howard Stern will ever be.
Okay. I
All
don't.
right.
Got
And
his
she
ass.
told Kim Goldman to move on. 10 years ago, she told her that.
I
All
don't
right. So
even.
you're going to dispute Oprah? You're going to go up against Oprah?
Sure. I'd love to have Oprah.
I love Kirk's
you as
response to that. It's like,
successful as Oprah?
sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe Oprah's figured some things out. You know, horrible things happened to Oprah when she was
Fact,
a kid.
Kirk is not as
and you know
successful
what?
as
Did she
Oprah.
go and
Got him there.
decide to become a victim? No, she came on and she went on to be one of the most successful people in the world.
I love that when he's like,
And
you're going to go
I've
against
been
Oprah,
the
thinking
victim
Kirk
of
would be like,
something.
fuck,
And
dude,
guess
yeah,
what?
right.
I
You know what?
can't.
I've gone on to be pretty successful. And guess what? Neither me nor Oprah, my little teeny weeny
Lunatic.
success and Oprah's mega success, none of it
Here we
would have
go.
happened
Kirk
if we
takes
had
the gloves
gone
off
on and
here.
continued
Okay.
to be.
No pun intended.
Well, sorry for ourselves.
Well, I'd also say, Malcolm, okay, that's great, and I'm sorry you went through whatever you went through. So this happened to Kim 25 years ago. She has a child. She has a career. So I don't think she spends you make it sound like she's just like in this circle of self-pity. She's also carved out a life for herself at the same time.
Well, so you say.
Well, do you know that she
She can
hasn't?
talk about it.
This guy's
If
awesome.
she's done that, then all of this media stuff would show that, but none of it does. It all just talks about OJ's the boogeyman. Give me money. OJ's the boogeyman. Watch my podcast. OJ's the boogeyman. I can get on the Howard Stern show.
Why do you like? I've heard you.
She can say whatever she wants. It's always about OJ's fame.
Well, I've heard you bring up Kim Goldman's mother a couple times in her relationship with her. Why do you think that's relevant to anything she's doing right now? Hello?
When did I bring up Kim Goldman's mother?
Hello?
Like on the podcast they did with you when you were talking to the producer.
No, you did earlier in this as well.
Oh, and this-
unauthorized
yeah.
release. Well, we're not going to even talk about that because they had no permission to even release that.
Okay,
That
well,
was
you
a
mentioned it.
conversation that was-
Well, you mentioned it in the beginning of this
So
interview.
what
as
happened
well,
was at the
when you talked
beginning,
about Kim Goldman and how she owes money to
he
the father
called
and the
Well,
mother.
Kim
the
Goldman,
mother owns
and they
part
said,
of
we're
the
recording
judgment,
it.
but
He
it
said,
just
you don't have
shows you
permission.
that,
It's
I
kind of
don't
like a
think she
Kurt
was
or
being
something.
entirely
Yeah.
honest on the Howard Stern show about that relationship that she talked about with her mother, or the no relationship with her mother. You know what? That's it. That would be, if I wanted to talk about it, it would be to talk about that. They love the Goldmans, and when I talk about Coleman, mainly Kim Goldman, the father a little bit, but mainly it's Kim Goldman. They want to
I had a friend growing up
monopolize
whose mom's
the
name was
victim,
Kim
the
Goldman.
professional victims card. They don't want anyone else in
Kinda
on
tough.
this action. That's it. They monopolize it
Nice lady.
and then monetize it. That's
Great
it.
lady.
That's my viewpoint from everything I've read
Right.
and seen about them over the last probably 15 years. That's it.
I'd be
That's
curious, and
it.
I know this is-
They monetize misery.
I know it's a lot to ask for, but can you give me an example or proof as to why why you think they've monopolized this?
Kirk, always the fucking asshole asking for proof.
I can
For an
give you a
example.
couple of little
Go.
things. I mean, they do have this PR guy that makes sure that they get all the make sure that they come on when things happen, that they come on and make statements. But
You
the
are
biggest
that
thing,
for
the
OJ.
one thing
Yeah.
that I can think of particularly when I heard their statements, when I say heard, Fred Goldman and Kim Goldman come on, is when this Trayvon Martin thing was going down, and there was a lot of the country was all tense, and this was going on, and people wanted one group wanted to go one way, the other group wanted to go the other way, and they had the Goldmans on TV. Some of these, they went and did some national news, and it was one time where they were brought on to talk about someone else's grief and someone else is grieving, and they did both of them. Go look at them. These are all on YouTube. They didn't really have anything to say at all about true caring and true compassion for this Trayvon or his family.
Do you think they brought
They sounded stunted.
Kim
and you know
Goldman on
why?
to talk
It's
about-
because they didn't want.
to
God
not
forbid
bring
if
up-
Trayvon's parents got in on this professional victims action or something like that. They're more interested
God.
and more comfortable in their zone talking about
completely
OJ,
different.
always about OJ, and promoting their books or promoting whatever they have to it. So they wouldn't. When you ask them something outside of OJ, they clam up. They don't want to do anything. So that's it. And I've said it before. I'm going to say it a million times.
God.
She is not a professional in media. Okay.
Who,
All
OJ?
right? She does not. She
I mean,
never
what else would they
developed
talk
her
about
talent. She never
outside of
developed
OJ?
talent for it,
Like,
and she
gonna
doesn't
fucking
do
go
it.
on
She's a
Dancing
big
with the
whore.
Stars or
Who
something?
cares though? Why is that relevant to anything? Like even if I
Because
agree,
she wants to be a media person. Yeah,
okay,
who
but
cares? I care.
but why is that? But who gives a shit? Like let's say Malcolm, let's say I agree with you, and she's the most boring person on earth. Like great,
I don't know how this conversation is going to even come out on your radio because you guys keep talking over.
You're gonna look like a lunatic.
But you
I
guys
think.
have got to let me speak and stop.
No, it's
talking
true. You
over.
haven't talked enough yet. Go ahead.
All right.
So,
So I don't know the last part. I'm just telling you. That's it. She never developed her skill sets. I've seen her go over the years, complete research. I've done all my homework, and she's gotten a million projects based on Simpson. She's gotten a million projects to do, and every one of them has failed. Every one of them, last lock, stop, and step, including this podcast, which is failing.
well, her podcast is
All right,
doing really.
and
Her podcast is
got-
doing really well. It's doing very well.
How do you know?
Well, it's on the
Everything's
top.
failing.
It's on the top of all the iTunes charts. I see it all the time.
I mean, why do you think Nancy Glass was on the phone call with me, desperate to try and get me on her show?
'cause it's
and
a
then when
good-
she couldn't,
it's a good spot.
in an illegal way, unauthorized, reduced the tape recording.
I don't know that. Yeah, that's your legal
Yeah,
situation.
but
not mine.
because they were desperate to get downloads.
It's number
and
7 on
desperate
all
to do
iTunes
anything
right
on it
now,
to get
so.
downloads rather than listen to something that people
Yeah,
have
call her
already
daddy.
known about for 25 years. There's nothing new coming out of that podcast.
Right. Well, I yes. The only thing I would say, and again, I'll just leave it this because I think we're going in circles. It's just, I think you must understand intellectually when you look at it that a guy calling a victim, whether you think she's professional or not, whatever, horrible, disgusting, and a piece of shit is. You can understand why people would look at that and say, "Why is this guy doing that?" I mean, you must understand that, right?
Well, listen, I make my choices like everyone does
Okay, but
in life,
okay.
and you live with the consequences.
I make my
So
bed.
I said what I said, and
Only
I
God
ain't
will
taking
judge
it back,
me.
and I can justify it.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a chance right now to say that Kim Goldman is not a piece of shit. Like, will you at least say that?
No, come on, please, come on.
What?
Please.
What?
I tell you, we just spent the better part of 20 minutes or so talking about how I'm not taking anything back I said about.
So you
Kim
stand by
Goldman
everything,
or the Goldmans in general.
You think OJ killed Ron and Nicole?
Excuse me?
Do you think OJ, Orenthal, James Simpson, murdered Ronald Goldman, Nicole Brown Simpson?
LA thing, you can keep going about it.
I just asked you a question. I'm asking you a question.
I thought you guys were professionals. You guys
We keep saying this.
You said, hey, unlike you, Malcolm, you've criticized Kim Goldman for not being professional, but we're professionals.
Right. I said
here you are. You've just been. All I've dealt with are two hacks for 30 minutes.
Well,
now.
give me
I'll stay on the phone with you.
What would you like?
I don't give up on anyone.
What would you like me to? What would you like me to ask you? What would you like me to ask you?
So what do I care? Why would you ask? Why would you? What's your IQ level when you would ask
46.
the lawyer for O.J. Simpson?
This is a lot longer than no, by the way.
Right. So you think what we all think? You think OJ? You think OJ killed them all? You think OJ killed them both? You think OJ? I know down deep because you're not dumb. You think OJ's a fucking idiot. The thing in Vegas was so stupid it's unbelievable. He wrote that book, If I Did It, which is you admit is dumb. The guy's a fucking dummy. And you take his money. It's blood money. You can rip Kim Goldman.
I didn't say he's a dummy. I said it was a bad.
He's a dummy. He's a dummy.
I mean, you got $1 million to take that. I mean, I don't care how much of a money grab it was.
But he's not a piece of shit, though, right?
You guys are looking so. You guys.
I know you keep doing that. You did it. I know you did it with Kim. You did it with Nancy Glass. We know everybody's dumb, but you. But yet, you're.
No,
wouldn't you say?
Everyone's dumb, but
wouldn't you say that you're? If you're gonna do the piece of shit chart, wouldn't you say you are a bigger piece of shit than Kim Goldman? You can answer that at least, right?
No, because I
do. I think you're a gigantic piece of shit. I'm being honest. I do. I think you're an ambulance chasing hunk of shit.
Very professional.
No, I just do. I mean, I just do. It's okay. I mean, that's you're making a living. I respect it.
Any other criticisms on me? Go ahead.
No,
I'm a piece of shit.
Last question. Who do you think OJ murdered first, Ron or Nicole?
You guys are the biggest amateurs ever.
Blood shows Ron.
The blood does show Ron. That's true.
I'll stay on the phone with you. Go ahead.
No, that's fine. We'll let you go, Matt. I know you got to do your run. We'll talk.
This is really upset me so much that I think I'm going to go to Christian Louboutin, Hermes,
Oh shit!
Come on now.
And don't worry, we're going to put your Twitter handle. We're going to put you have 2,000. You have 2,000
Kirk has
Twitter
never
followers. We'll make sure to
shop at
bump
Christian
up your Twitter
Louboutin
account.
in LA.
On this Malcolm LaVergne publicity tour that you're going on. What's the next stop on the publicity tour, Malcolm? What's the next stop?
I don't do publicity.
No,
he doesn't want fame. He just wants to retweet him.
Don't worry, we'll put your handle on it, okay?
I don't have 10, 15 emails from you guys. You guys don't even have
absolutely,
you
of
guys
course.
Are the ones actually calling me on for the show.
Course.
You guys are such amateurs. You don't even have a producer to actually do this.
No,
right?
that's actually he's our producer, but he is an amateur. You are right about that.
That's true.
Of that, there's no doubt.
Made one good point.
Of that, there's no doubt.
Go give this tape. Listen, if you guys are looking to increase your careers, go give this tape to someone who is in your profession, where you can actually get a promotion, where they're going to go, wow, look at the talent these guys have.
I hope so.
How well they handle O.J. Simpson's
We'll hand it over to Dave Portnoy.
These guys are real professionals here. These guys did an amazing job.
Here's a little tip for you, Malcolm. I'll give you a little tip as well. If you have any memorabilia of OJ's, make sure you give it back to him. If not, he's gonna get his boys, his goons, and try and fucking kill you. So you better be careful as well, right?
Anything? Come on. Anything else? Come on.
No, I'm just saying. Do you think when OJ slapped Nicole around like 50? Do you ever talk to him about that? Has he stopped beating women or no?
Get it all out.
I'm just asking. I'm just asking questions. That's all.
It is awesome that he stays on for all this. There's a lot of people that would just dip.
What do you mean? Why would I answer an amateur's question?
You should probably when you're done with this, why don't you when you're done with this, why don't you send this podcast to another lawyer and then like a professional one, and maybe they'll do a better job and show you how to do it. Go to a professional. You're just an amateur, Malcolm. Just an amateur.
Well, what did you know about being a lawyer?
Well, I mean, what do you know about being a broadcaster?
No, I think I would be a
broadcaster.
Kirk got him there, though. 10 times better than you if I
30
started
seconds,
today.
10 times better.
I start 10 times better than you if I did it today based on what you did. You guys were not prepared.
Look,
you should try that out.
Okay, this is gonna be a big moment for you. I agree we don't have a producer. I agree with you on that. A big moment for you. If we tweet this out, you are
You guys didn't think about a story or a focus.
You are going to hit.
Didn't think about.
I'm telling you, you're going to hit the magic 2,600 Twitter followers when we do. We're going to do this.
You might get as many followers as me.
Could have my mic. Yeah, go ahead, Malcolm.
You may learn something.
Go ahead. I'm ready. Good.
All right.
Good.
You guys, this is the difference. You guys didn't think anything else.
No, not at all. Not at all. You played us like
all you thought about was getting.
You played us like a chess. It's like another.
All right.
Kirk, okay.
When you actually want to be successful, you better think about a plan and you better work hard. All right.
I'm on it. I'm on it.
This is why you guys are
Continue.
where you are in your life, and I'm going to go to Christian Louboutin. All right.
Yeah, Kirk, you don't have any money, do you?
No, not at all. All right, Malcolm. Well, go enjoy your shopping spree and have a great run today, okay? And give the Juice our love because he's a great guy.
The Juice is loyal.
Wonderful guy. All right, Malcolm. Thank you.
All right. Enjoy.
You as well. Thank you.
So that's just an all-time just phone interview from the early days. So it's one like I kind of forget about. It pops up every now and then. He'll go back. I know a couple months ago when Gus said he was going to do the Juice and the Loot, the Goose and the Juice podcast, and put it in his description. Like Malcolm LaVergne sent him like a crazy DM saying like, you do not have permission to do this. O.J. Simpson will not be appearing on this podcast. Get his name out of your bio and all this fucking crazy.
And he took that personally.
Yes.
So he willed cancer.
Yes.
On the Juice.
So you wish you could go back in time and go, Malcolm, before we go, just tell OJ to get his prostate checked real quick.
And don't draft Andrew Luck.
Yeah, don't draft. Two things. Don't draft Andrew Luck and get that prostate checked out, my friend.
God.
Yeah, but just an all-time show moment. I mean, he does. I don't want to say he plays along because he doesn't really play along. It really wasn't something to play along with.
He talked through the whole thing.
But he didn't quit. Like a lot of people, I feel like would have hung up, but he stuck through it and he stuck to his guns and fuck it. To this day, he still has the same, thoughts on OJ and probably on Kim Goldman and all that shit. So anyway, that about does it for the re-listen. I don't know if you have anything else you want to say, Coleman?
No, I mean, just in, I guess, relation to Gus, I did get that text like this week about him. So 2 for 2 with Gus taking down potential guests, past guests. Let's pray that he doesn't get anyone else though.
Let us hope. Okay, thank you guys for watching, and we'll talk to you soon next week when Kirk is back. It's very exciting. Bye.